I'm definitely sensing something.
What do you want from us?
Human sacrifice.
All right. Yeah, we'll just do that, I guess.
No, we're not gonna.
I printed these. The internet has a lot of great tips about how to exorcise demons.
At the beginning of the movie, we see the family who all are sleeping in their respective rooms. As the clock strikes 3:15 a.m., the parents hear their daughter scream and they run towards her room. They enter the room with their son, and the girl in a demonic voice says Grace has been taken. They should not have inhabited this house as it belongs to Diomedes. They then see that Grace is really possessed, and Diomedes says he wants human sacrifice. They offer him another sacrifice in exchange for Grace and their house, and the Diomedes leaves Grace's body. We then see Will, who works at a toothpaste company, and his girlfriend Amy, who is upset with him because he did not attend her promotion party and is always busy with his work. He had absolutely no time for her, so she decides to end the relationship and leave him. The next day, he goes to rent a new room, but Ken and his wife offers him the whole house. They finally convince him to rent the house and leave there. Later, he gets a text from Amy asking for his address, and while he was working out after some time, the door of the room opens automatically, and when he closes the door, we see a ghost in the mirror. When Amy comes there, she waves at him and leaves, and she was there to drop his toothpaste. He then comes to the basement and put that box there. Now that night at 3:15 a.m., a demonic voice calls his name and says he is his sacrifice. Will suddenly wakes up and hears the door closing, so he comes to the basement where he hears some whispering, and he finds that the sounds are coming from his headphones. He tries to listen to it carefully, but suddenly the dance music blasts, and he thinks it's just creaky and new pipes are setting in. Suddenly the mixer starts, and while turning it off, he thinks the electricity is faulty. He then comes back to his room and tries to sleep, but then he hears a loud thud and falls from the bed, and then he decides to sleep on the floor. But suddenly someone grabs his throat, and he wakes up from his sleep. Later, he finds a cake in the oven, and sees "I will have your soul" written on it. He calls his friend Patrick, who tries to call the cop, but will stop him asking what he will tell the cops. Will thinks Amy might have done it because she is the only one who knows he is here, but Patrick says she dumped him, and Will gets upset hearing this, and he asks Patrick to leave. Later, when Will comes back home from grocery shopping, he finds the furniture stacked and all the drawers opened. Now that night, he hears a whispering saying he is worthless, and when he closes the door, it opens again and he sees a ghost standing there. Will immediately runs downstairs to check but finds no one there, and suddenly workout music starts playing in his Walkman and he starts working out following the instructions. Soon he gets tired, and suddenly the instructor tells him to go to the basement and he falls down the stairs. Now when he goes to the basement, he finds many cakes there with "Leave this house" written on them. Suddenly the piano starts playing, and he gets terrified seeing all this. Now here he finally encounters a ghost sitting on a chair, and then the other ghost tells him Diomedes cannot possess his soul, so he must leave and never return. Now while he is leaving, he sees the ghost wearing his t-shirt and smiling at him. He rushes to Amy's apartment, but finds her there with her new boyfriend Nick, and leaves there heartbroken. He then returns to his new house and asks the ghost if he can stay here for a while, but the ghost says he is not welcome here, to which he says they have to figure it out, and the ghost disappears. He then comes to his room, where the ghost boy tells him that he must leave, as he is not the sacrifice Diomedes desires. Will gets frustrated and asks him why not. Later, he meets Patrick and says he wants to get out of there for a while, as he is tired of certain demons telling him he is not enough. Patrick thinks he is talking about his inner demon, and then a girl comes there and Will asks him if he is setting him up. Patrick introduces him to her, saying her name is Amy. They talk for a while, and then Patrick asks Will to tell Amy about his new house. Will tells her that his house is haunted and full of ghosts, and the worst part is that they don't want his soul. Amy consoles him, saying she is sure that any ghost would be lucky to have his soul. She then reveals that in college, she used to cleanse houses of all sorts of spirits and negative energies and stuff. Knowing this, Will say he needs a cleansing tonight because he doesn't know how much longer he can take this. They all then reach his house and Will tell her that sometimes they start being annoying at 3:15 in the morning, but other days, they just kind of start whenever. Suddenly Amy starts sensing something, and it's coming from the basement. She confirms with him if there is a little girl's room here. She says they are going to do the cleansing from the girl's room and asks him to get the sage and salt. She sprinkles salt in the girl's room and they then start the cleansing. And she asks the spirits to release themselves from the confines of this house and that they are not welcome. The wind blows and the salt circle breaks. Patrick says there gotta be a window open or something, and he goes to close it. But Amy tells Will that there is a demon in this house, and her cleansing was for ghosts. She then starts choking and faints there. Will goes to call Patrick but hears a tapping sound from a room and finds him jumping rope. He tells him about Amy and that they have to get her to the hospital. But Patrick is possessed by 𝐷 and says he should not have brought his friends here because he can possess them. Will says Patrick is a nerd, to which 𝐷 says he likes nerds and then runs shutting the door. Will then goes to the basement and tries to remind the possessed Patrick that he is the responsible one. But 𝐷 says he wants to let the lady suffer and hang out with him instead. Hearing this, Will tries to attack him, but 𝐷 breaks his arm, and then starts digging the floor. But only then Amy reaches there and casts him out. Will then see his hand broken, and Patrick says they will go to the hospital and he is going to stay with him for a while. But Will says Amy fixed it and saved them, so he is not going to live with him. He says he will guard the world from demons and stay here and keep him from getting out of the house. But Amy says this is dangerous territory and that demon is looking for a sacrifice to take to hell. Will says that the demon doesn't want him, and no one gonna be here except him. Patrick asks him to come to the hospital with them, and then he can do whatever he wants. They then get his hand fixed at the hospital, and when he comes back to the house the next morning, he finds Amy there. She says Patrick told her that he was in an accident. She asks him if she can come inside. He tries to tell her that it's too dangerous here, but she asks him to relax and then enter the house. Will finds nothing unusual in the house, so he asks her if she wants to stay. He is making some spaghetti tonight. Now at night, they clear all their misunderstandings and patch up. But when they get intimate, we see the shadow of that lady ghost outside. The next morning, he tries to tell Amy that there were ghosts and a demon in the house, and he was just going to stay here and guard against any returning evil spirits as it feels right to him. He asks her if she feels it right too, to which she says no, and then she says in a demonic voice that Amy never loved him and now Amy is his. She then turns completely possessed by the 𝐷, and will say he banishes him out of his ex but maybe future girlfriend. Amy then faints, but suddenly she wakes up and 𝐷 says that is the worst demon cleansing he has ever heard. He then leaves there and we see Tammy outside the house smiling. At night, we see Will talking to his boss on phone, and possessed Amy tied up on a chair. He tells her he printed these great tips about how to exorcise demons. He tries to draw some symbols following the tips and shows her a crucifix he made, and as he throws it at her, 𝐷 starts screaming. Only then does the call gets connected to HR and he tries to explain to her that he never said their toothpaste was the official toothpaste of Satan. 𝐷 says Amy will be sacrificed and her soul belongs to him. Will requests her HR not to fire him, but she disconnects the call. Only then someone rings the bell, and he finds Patrick and Amy at the door. Patrick sees Amy inside, and he asks Will what did he do. He tells him he did nothing. It's 𝐷 that possessed her soul. Amy tells him that the portal to hell opens at 3:15 a.m., and 𝐷 will take Amy to hell at that time forever. Now when they come inside, they find that Amy is not on the chair. Only then Ken with his family reaches there and will get shocked to know that they knew about this already. Tammy tells him he was supposed to be sacrificed instead of their daughter Grace. Will forgives them for sacrificing his soul, and asks them to focus on saving Amy. But Ken says they don't want to save her, as he wants someone to be sacrificed so they can live in their house again. Will says no one is going to be sacrificed tonight, but only then a ghost drags him into the basement. Amy tells Patrick that they have to perform a seance, as they have to figure out a way to sever the link between 𝐷 and those spirits. They then perform the seance and Ken and his family also get involved in this. Meanwhile, Will finds Amy digging in the ground, and he says if he takes Amy to hell, then he is coming to hell too, and he is gonna be stuck with him. Hearing this, 𝐷 stops, and the wind blows the candle off. Amy asks the spirits if they are in the house, and the planchette moves to yes, and suddenly a drawer opens, and Amy sees "Help Me" scraped in it. She says they know demons possess them to do evil things and asks how they can banish 𝐷 so they can return to the afterlife in peace. The spirit tells them that 𝐷 possessed 2 girls in the house, and only then possessed Grace runs from there. Here Will tries to stop Amy but 𝐷 pushes him back, and when he touches her back, It burns Amy's arm, and we'll see the toothpaste in his hand, and Diomedes then breaks his arm. On the other hand, they hear the recording on the tape recorder, and the spirit tells them to destroy the objects that the demon made. They start looking for the things that the demon made, and finally, they find the cake made by him. Here Will tries to talk to Amy, but Diomedes rotates her head 360 degrees. But Will holds her head and tells her that he was scared to go with her that night, because he thought if he went, she would see just how much her life's moving forward and how she deserved more than him. So he is not gonna keep holding on to her. Amy then faints and wakes up normally. Only then possessed Grace come there, and Patrick and Amy also reach there following her. Patrick tells them that Grace is Diomedes now. Jake says he is digging a hole into hell, and Amy says she has never seen anything like that. Diomedes pushes Amy back and says he already has his sacrifice and they cannot save Grace now. She then bites Amy and moves to attack others, but they catch him and Patrick throws toothpaste into the gateway, which closes it back. Amy then tries to banish him to the cake he made, but he frees himself and jumps into the portal and drags Amy with him as well. Seeing this, Will stab the cake and a green sticky liquid comes out of it. After some time, Amy comes out of that hole with Grace, and Amy tells them that spirits are also free now to move to the next realm. The lady spirit then plays the piano and Ken asks Amy to send them away from his house, but she says she can't because they are at peace. After a year, Amy and Will are now again together, and Ken sells the house to Will. Amy says they could all be glad that Diomedes never found a vessel that would allow him to leave the house. But only then does Will notice Grace creepily smiling, looking at him, and the movie ends here. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon never to miss new video updates. Thanks for watching.